if I had my way, I'd do Talking Reds on the ferry every day.
Would you?
Yeah. Just slap bang in the middle of the river.
I quite like that.
Every single day.
Why aren't we doing that right now?
It's great to get outside.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about being outside.
Yeah.
So at the background there is actually the river. The river is that way. You can see them where you can't see the museum. You can just see the back of the docks if you're in focus there behind us. But that way is basically where it all happens. It's the Albert Dock, and this is where the Anfield rap lives, slap bang in the centre of the city, to talk to you about Liverpool. I'm gonna start with Big Virgil. He's been made Liverpool's August Player of the Month.
Yeah.
And there's this thing, isn't there? One man's not going to solve all your defensive problems, and I would argue actually he didn't. We were already on the road. There's actually a bit of an anniversary point with Tottenham away. We changed it after Tottenham away last season. We're a bit more responsible, and we defend relatively well with one or two blips.
Yeah.
But it is fair to say that since he's come in, it's like he was waiting for that 3-4 months to come. Like he was just watching DVDs of Liverpool, working out what he was going to do and how he was going to be boss.
Yeah.
Not really worried about Southampton, and now he's here and he's just been boss.
Yeah, I like to think that when he was listening to the whole "one man isn't going to solve your defensive problems" and he was laughing, like an evil laugh, sitting in his lair drinking his drinks. And we with Paul Johnson, Jacko, who some of you'll know, who's the resident centre back, expert of the Anfield rap. And I was watching the last game with him, and I was saying it's funny, isn't it, how they said one man won't do it. But it's incredible how many times, because I remember even Carragher was saying, they'll just miss him out. Yeah. He might be big, but they'll just miss him out. They don't. Yeah. They very rarely miss him out. He's massive. So it's incredible how often the ball just lands on his head. And you're like, oh, there's Virg again.
Do you know what I'd start doing? If I was setting up a team against us, and maybe you shouldn't say this, I'd start playing on him. In fact, you can't get out of him anyway.
Yeah.
So why let him do the recovery stuff? Why let him read the game? Why let him be in his element, be so controlled?
I like that.
Why let him do that? Instead, why don't you say, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to stand on you, and we're going to make you really busy and have Joe Gomez going, well, what am I meant to do here now then? This is a bit different.
Couldn't agree more. I love stuff like that. It's like the thing that's popped into my head as soon as you said that was when we played Juve under Rafa, and everyone's like, oh, what'll happen is he'll be dead tight and he'll solid and he'll just drown. And we just battered them.
Yeah, just went at them and just threw everything.
We'll throw, and they were like, oh, we weren't ready for this. Yeah. This is not what we expected you to do. I think that's a brilliant plan.
He's been made player of the
month. I hope no one's watching this who's an opponent.
Let's hope that. I think Pochettino's got training at the minute. You know what I mean? He'll be busy. He'll have things on. It is harsh on the others. The main thing I'd say, though, is Gomez. The Charlton Academy manager has said, I'm delighted to see him playing centre-back. I've always thought that was his position. The partnership with Van Dijk is developing, and it's very encouraging for Joe. My thing about this is Gomez was so good at Leicester. He's returned from the international break unscathed. He now knows his position as first choice is safe. Lovren's going to be out for another month. Yeah. By the time Lovren comes back, Lovren might not be able to get anywhere near back in this side. I'm really excited about watching them together at the weekend at Tottenham. I think that, yet again, they're going to show to the business. It's going to be the toughest test so far, but I think they're going to be great. Yeah, I think so. And again, for the whole, what do they want? Great noise in the background there. What do they do on a ferry, Paul? I know, that's the problem, isn't it? The horns and that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Worth the test, still. I still like the idea of it. Even as we're doing all of this chat, I'm just thinking about being on a ferry with you. Doing this. That'd be fantastic. The thing with Gomez is, I was having this chat with someone else the other day. His weakness when he was playing right back was that ball over his head that he just couldn't seem to get right. And teams that play on the floor, I'm just like, that's absolutely fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. I can't imagine Gomez going into this game that concerned. No. I think he's going to be quite happy. These types of games at the very top end with the top teams who will try and play the way we play. It's funny going into a game like this perfectly comfortable. It is strange. And we might lose and we might concede loads of goals and all the rest of it, but I don't think that's important. What's important is the feeling of, I think they've got it under control. Yeah, you feel as though they're going to defend well. That Tottenham could do something brilliant. That Son could play and do what he did last year, where he was pretty close to his 10 out of 10 game last year. Son, if we're all honest about it. People talked about Kane, he talked about Lovren. That was harsh on Son after the fact in that he was brilliant that day. And he never quite got, and as often seems to be the case for him, he doesn't quite get the credit he deserves, Son. He may well be back for them this weekend. He's a real threat. But if they beat us by being better than us, then that's fine. I don't think they're going to beat us by us gifting them goals, which is what happened last season. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the big step, isn't it? I keep talking about progression and evolution of football teams. That's the step we've got to now. I think we're all going in, which is important. The fans are going in thinking, we won't give them anything. They've got to earn this. There won't be any unforced errors. Today's Talking Reds is in association with Heritage. Let's go and see what they've been up to.
Daisy's Talking Reds are now brought to you by Heritage, which is a bar and restaurant on Castle Street right here in the heart of Liverpool. So if you're in town for the game or you live in Liverpool and you're looking for somewhere really good and new to eat, we could heartily recommend Heritage. Get down there. Alex and Antonia will look after you.
Hello, we're in Heritage Castle Street and we're open Tuesday to Sunday. So the different types of food you do at Heritage, you got a mixture of Sicilian, Italian, Middle Eastern, and English, French cuisine. So drinks and offer here at Heritage, we've got our own coffee, which is blended by Crosby Coffee just down the roads. We've got Love Lane Pale Ales, which are from Liverpool themselves. Turncoat Gin, which is also a Liverpool brand. And World Beers and a cocktail list done by myself.
Heritage there. If you're looking for something to do on Tuesday afternoon before the match at home against Paris Saint-Germain, a few of us will be around at Heritage having something to eat. They have small plates. They're lovely, to be quite honest with you. I've had some. And I paid full price for them as well. I want to be quite clear about this. And I don't mind doing that. They were worth the money. The hummus is the absolute business. So if you want to get yourself to Heritage, do feel free to do so. Hummus is one of those things. You know, when you were growing up, when you, like lattes, when politicians say things like now, like, oh, there's the chattering classes drinking lattes. Lads, you get it in Greg's. £2 with a bacon roll. Everyone's having lattes. And hummus, when I was growing up, it sounded like this unbelievably exotic food stuff that was ridiculously expensive. And it's in Tesco for 85p a tub. And it's gorgeous. And why wasn't my mum giving me hummus? I'd have lashed it back at her and gone, when I was 9.
None of this,
but it's
I want a Findus crispy pancake, please, Mum.
Which are more expensive and less good for me and less nice. It was absolutely gorgeous hummus. Anyway, it's a completely separate point. Gary Neville says this: as a Man United fan, I am very worried about Liverpool. The football they're playing under Klopp is fantastic. As a Man United fan, that's a worry because it's still a mentality of anyone but them. I think first that mentality is important, and I think it's why Liverpool and Man United will always be at the forefront of football in this country, no matter what's happening, is that not only do Man United fans have a no one but them attitude towards us, but there's fans all over the country who genuinely have a no one but them attitude, not just Man United fans or Everton fans. There's Tottenham who have it, there's Chelsea who have it. And in the same way, there's loads of people who have it for Man United. Basically, by being the heroes or the villains of the piece, as Liverpool and Man United always are, you'll always be the centre of attention.
I love it. You know, I think it's brilliant. I love it when people say things like, God, imagine what they'll be like if they win it. I go, I know. I don't put their mind at ease at all. When people go, they'll be unbearable. Look at what... I love all this stuff going on at the moment now. There's this massive thing on the internet. Look at Liverpool fans having fun. Why are they having fun? Like, you're meant to have... Why aren't you having fun? So I love the whole fear of, oh, God, this is going to be... I saw Neville doing it with Joey Barton last year on Twitter. Oh, it's going to be, and because they can see it getting closer, it's getting worse. They're having nightmares about it. I think it's fantastic.
And people lying in bed of nights going, oh,
they are all over the place. You're right. It's not just United. They're all like, oh my God. I reckon there'll be people who'll come off Twitter. There'll be people who, if we win the league or when we win the league, that'll be it. They'll just have to close down internet access. Someone will invent an app. We should do this. Invent an app that blocks anyone that talks about Liverpool coming into your life because they just won't want it. But they're right. And that's the worst thing. The worst thing. It's like when Evertonians used to say, you stopped us winning the European Cup. At one point, I just got to the point where I was going, yeah, okay. If that's what you want, it's like, it will be unbearable. I promise you, it will be unbearable. And we have a duty, and everyone watching, when we win the league, you have a duty to make it unbearable for everybody else.
Start making your plans now as to what you would do if we were to win the league. I'm going to start asking that of people, or get someone to ask it of people across the Anfield Apps content every now and again. I always remember in 08-09, I said to Adam Amelia once, we were sitting in the Grapes up on Night Street, and I said to Adam, what are you going to do if we win the league? And he said, I'm going to spend the summer sitting in trees, smiling at passers-by.
I love it. Imagine that. That would be brilliant all around the world. Imagine that. Everywhere.
Sitting in trees,
an Evertonian, Gary Neville, wandering just through a street in the middle of Malaysia, thinking, I'm away from it here. Someone just sitting in a tree,
smiling at passers-by. Absolutely got them up the wall. Everyone is worried about Liverpool doing the business. There's also a lot of people, there's a lot of well-wishers around. I speak to them all the time, and people who want to see us give it a proper go because of this Manchester City side. And this weekend's a great example of it, Paul. In fact, the next run of games is the 7 games coming. It culminates in us playing Manchester City at home. During that run of games, we play Tottenham, Paris Saint-Germain, and 11 sent from Mars, the Allies in Escape to Victory, the Harlem Globetrotters, and then finally we close it with Man City. Man City play this weekend. I think they've got Fulham, then they've got the Dog and Duck 11 away. Then they head over to play some amoebas at some stage, and then it goes from there.
I did a similar joke to this. It said they play West Ham, and I think Robert did the same one. They played West Ham 3 times, and I can't remember whether it was on YouTube or somewhere else. Someone said to me, I've checked the fixtures, they don't.
Yeah. That's what they've got to come. But in this part that Shaqiri said this week, there's a lot of quality in our team. Competition is always good. The fact is, this is where Shaqiri comes alive. This run of games, both in terms of coming off the bench to help us see it out as he did at Leicester, but also the fixtures that come. It's where Sturridge comes alive. It's where Fabinho comes alive. It's where you're going to see something of Nathaniel Klein, I'd have thought. You're going to maybe even see Moreno. We're going to have to all prepare ourselves for that, but it is quite possibly going to happen. Maybe even Divock Origi. This is where we're going to get to see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the lads who so far haven't featured much.
Yeah, and it's exactly the reason why at the start of the season, Klopp, it's funny when fans, I wrote sort of about Fabinho and Keita this week and people coming in at different times, fans straight away like, why aren't they playing, even though we've seen it before, and Klopp's very much like, no, you could see him sort of going, I'm happy with these 11, 12 lads to get me through these games, because after that, lads, you're all going to have to be ready. I'm going to need you then. And when that Champions League draw's made, which I love, by the way, anyone moaning about getting boss teams in the Champions League, you're in the wrong sport. What a run of games. But yeah, this is exactly what they're there for. And what I love about the likes of Shaqiri, and we've had chats about Shaqiri before he came in, I love his whole, I'm ready. I'll be there. Don't worry about me. I'll score you a goal. I'll get you an assist. We'll be fine.
We will be fine. And that's the attitude that we need. We're going to close this off with a brilliant Peter Crouch interview. Before I do that, just very quickly, we're absolutely loads of stuff today. We've got a wild cards. We've got a well-read coming out. First one of them for a while. Really pleased to have done that. We've got a fancy footy show. We're going to be doing that. We've got the Friday show kicking off, looking ahead to the weekend. Great stuff with Peter Crouch, which is available to be listened to as audio if you want to subscribe to TalkPlayer, £5 a month, which incidentally is also the price of Paul Cope's app. If you want to block all Liverpool stuff. I did a really great interview with Michael Calvin. I can't recommend his book State of Play highly enough. But the Peter Crouch thing is fantastic. Gareth went to Waterstone to do it on Monday. And Crouchy says this: the only regret I do have about leaving was the fact was that Torres left soon after. I was looking at the young Gogs, the foreigners play, and I was thinking I should still be there, and I could be there still. One of my things about this one is when we're talking about the strength and depth thing, one of the things that kills you in 08-09 is, we bring Keane in, but we're still often an attacker light. That's the very thing we're talking about when we're talking about Shaqiri, when we're talking about Sturridge, when we're talking about people getting chances. That squad in 08-09, it needed a Peter Crouch. It needed one more. One more would have made, it would have been better if it was in wide areas, don't get me wrong, but one more in general would have made a massive difference. I feel we've got the one mores now, but you'd always like one more, but it could have been Crouchy.
Yeah, I actually think we all love Crouchy, don't we? And I actually think he's the perfect example of why we didn't win the league at any point actually in our sort of adult life since it was last done. And it's a microcosm of the problems, because I remember at the time, there's no way Crouch leaves if he's at United, because Ferguson would have gone to him, well, look, mate, you're going to play 40 games a season here. We'll box you off with the salary. Just be happy being on the bench when you're on the bench. Yeah. And Crouchy goes, I can sort of buy that. Rafa at the time, and it'd be interesting asking Rafa, because Crouch mentions that Rafa sort of encouraged him to go as well. Yeah. But I wonder how much of that from Rafa was, well, I need to free up your salary, mate.
Yeah, I need to get you off the wage bill.
Because he was constantly having to think of this. Well, okay, if I get rid of him, who can I bring in? Can I get another right back and a left back? Oh, fantastic, that'll help. Whereas if he didn't have to do any of that, and he could have just said to Crouchy, mate, you're my equivalent of, I always say this, the people who win the leagues for United in that era, okay, you've got all the big boys. We had big boys. The people who win the leagues for you are Darren Fletcher and John O'Shea, who they're happy being in your squad. And when they come in, they do a great job for you, and they're good pros, and they're perfectly good 7, 8 out of 10 players. But they'll be there, they'll sit around.
In 08-09, United could pick 2 up front, and they could pick from, before you even got to the level beneath, when Makeda comes in and is better than Pelé for 3 weeks, you managed to have Berbatov, Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo. Berbatov was 4th choice in that, but he played loads of games December and January and dragged them through horrible, mucky winters games where they didn't concede. They always had an out ball. They had a lad up front who was big, put himself about, insofar as Berbatov ever did, but had a great touch, could bring people into the game. That's what they had. And you were looking at it going, we've just got to keep Torres running all the way through January when he's shattered and he's just done Christmas, and we've got to keep him running, because if it's not Torres, it's Ngog.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even listening to Crouch's, when you watch the interview, it's brilliant. And the little moments where he says, I mean, this isn't a regret. I think it is, mate. Just even the fact you're saying that, it's that moment of, and I think for players coming through now, and I think you're seeing more of this, players thinking, well, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss this. Because, okay, I could go and play for Stoke and play every week, but I'll never get this. When he's perfectly open and says, best time of my career. Like those nights under the lights at Anfield, you don't get them in very many clubs. Nope. And you can go and play, but you can go and play 50 games somewhere else, or you can stay with us and play 40. and you get these.
Yeah, and you get 5 magical nights,
Yeah.
5 of the best nights of your life.
Yeah.
That's what Liverpool Football Club offers us all. 5 of the best nights of our life every single year. Aren't we lucky? Isn't it a joy to be alive? Me and Paul Cope on ferries, boats and yachts near you soon. Here's Peter Crouch.
I've been lucky enough to play with, obviously the Tottenham days were very good as well, with Modric and Bale, and some top players with England, with the Beckhams, with the Rooneys, some top players there. But Gerrard, for me, just I just feel like he had everything. I remember playing against him when I was a kid at Spurs, and he was at Liverpool in the youth team, and the first moment I saw him, he smashed someone on the edge of the box. He beat 2 men and he crashed this shot off the crossbar as hard as I've ever seen a shot been hit. I was like, who's this fella, you know? And straight away, right from then, everything about him. I think in England training, he was by far the best player, and that was with world-class players. He played right back and still be the best player on the pitch. And I think if you put all that together, for me, that's why one of the chapters is dedicated to him, just because I think for me, he's the best player I've played with, and I'd say, like, how to be a footballer, then go and follow that. Then some of the nights we had were just, people always ask me, what's the best time of your career? And that period at Liverpool was easily the best time, just through the magnitude of games we were playing in. I was playing the best football that I've played in my career. I was playing for England and scoring goals, and that atmosphere on the Champions League night was unrivaled. Yeah, it was more than difficult. I think if you leave Liverpool, the only way is down, really. It's a difficult place to leave. And I think with Torres and Gerrard playing just behind Torres, he was never going to be replaced. And I understood that, of course. Torres was an absolute fire. The only regret I do have about leaving, when I did, was the fact that Torres left soon after, and I was looking at the Ngogs, the Voronins playing, and I was thinking, I should be there still, and I could be there still, and it was a bit of both. I mean, Rafa, I think, decided maybe it might have been better for me to move on, and a bit of the fact that I was still in the England squad and I wanted to be playing games, and I was worried about my England place as well. So yeah, it was a bit of both, but I do, not that I regret it, but I was finding it frustrating watching Liverpool without Torres, knowing that I could have been there. The best one was, I just walked in on him one day and he's got his phone here like this, and he's got plugged into his phone, he's got like a 1920s sort of phone, one of the phones that you hold but with the earpiece. So he's literally got it plugged in, so he's turned a hands-free into something you need 3 hands for. But he's not trying to impress anyone. He was genuinely, I walked in on him and he was on his own, just on the phone like this. And I went, "You're right, Jim?" And he was like, "Nothing had happened." It's like, "Yeah, I'm fine now." I was like, wow, this man, fair play.